Where are we heading for?
Albany.
Albany?
I think my favourite scenes were the ones in which the actors got a chance to kind of expand a little bit, and that's what I kind of executed. It was, you know, it's like some people are good paper hangers, some people are good drywall plasterers. I'm a good dialogue writer, character dialogue, so I was supposed to do something in that direction.
What happens if we make a wrong turn?
There are areas of radiation we couldn't get through. It's not a matter of wrong turns. Damnation Alley is nearly 100 miles wide a lot of the way.
Damnation Alley, who named it that?
I did.
I wanted them to get busted for a speeding ticket when they arrived in Albany. That was my idea, my thought. But they wanted it to be a little more upbeat.
I believe there's a bit of the swashbuckler in you after all, Major.
I mean, I'm British, you know, my career started over there. I wrote for radio principally, and then I started to write a novel, the novel kind of deal. And at a certain point in time, I got the novel finished and I got the novel published, and I thought, oh, I would write some scripts because they were easier, it was shorter, there were fewer words. And I was a big movie goer, big Western and film noir kind of a. So I started to write scripts, and they got sold and made, and I came over here in the early 70s from Britain with, you know, a couple of credits behind me and a couple of novels published, so I was employable, and I got offered this job. Anytime I meet an author now, having adapted a lot of books for television, I always tell them, it's like having your child's arms and legs broken and then taught to walk again. So if you don't like watching that process, you should stay well away. You can never get all of the book into the story. There's too much book for script, you know. In this case, that work had already been done. Lucas had already gone over the book, took out the frame, and set it up. I was just recladding the house rather than building a new house kind of deal, you know. So there were certain things that I was supposed to bring to it, which I think were maybe more character-driven. I mean, I don't think I made any changes to the narrative, the events that I can recall. I was supposed to basically put a different set of clothes on the characters, you know, and so I think that was principally what my task was. I think it would have been better if I had taken the book and started from there instead of taking Lucas's script and starting from there. I think partly I was being lazy, that a lot of the work had been done, you know, and I just had to redo it. But also, I mean, I was told quite clearly that plenty of the script was liked. I mean, they weren't saying, we're pitching this is rubbish, we've got to do something else. They were saying, this doesn't quite work. So it was a certain kind of redo. You've got to sometimes be careful you don't cut everything out, you know, just in order to get your own stuff in.
Boy, nothing changes. Bomb or no bomb, the lights never go out in Vegas.
I got one or two lines in. All the dead are dead and all the living are dying. I try and stick that in at every opportunity, and that's one of the few places it stuck. And I had forgotten the line about what is heritage. It's what people give you after it doesn't work. I'd forgotten about that. That made me chuckle.
I've never seen so many cars before.
That's your heritage, Billy.
What's heritage?
That's what people leave other people after they find out it don't work.
For me, I was quite a lot more interested in the kind of politics, sociology of it than the disaster bit of it. I wanted to see more how people were coping and what kind of communities were forming and what kind of community they would get to when they got to Albany. I mean, it's a bit Norman Rockwell at the end. They just rush into each other's arms and it's all, I'm glad that Holocaust is over, kind of feeling. I thought it should have been a little bit darker than that, you know. But again, you know, there was a direction that the thing had been set in, and so. But I never did have a great. I mean, I suppose this is science fiction in one sense of the word. It's really just futuristic. You know, this is a classic kind of road movie, picaresque, you know, which the heroes travel through a dangerous landscape and meet a different bunch of people along the way. I mean, that's a standard format for a certain kind of novel, movie kind of deal. And there just weren't very many of them, and they did not want to encourage going off and, you know, creating little communities like how the hippies were dealing with it and how the survivalists were dealing with it. They didn't want too many oxbows into. They wanted to keep it with the little vignettes, the Las Vegas vignette and picking up Dominic Sander. I mean, that was to get the chick on board, to stop in Vegas. And then there was the boy and that kind of thing. So it had quite clear parameters, that I wasn't encouraged to sort of branch out from. They weren't dissatisfied with what Lucas had done. They just wanted it done a bit better, a bit more. So I was supposed to give it the kind of the brushwork, the paintwork kind of thing.
So what's going to happen?
Nothing. This is it. It's how things are going to be.
Billy, all those explosions, they knocked the world off its axis.
What's its axis?
Kind of like its center.
Yeah, something like that. And if it comes back, everything could come back to normal.
I think that I did a competent job. It was a decent piece of, work. It didn't. I don't think it noticeably enlarged the scope of the piece, but I would give it a, kind of pass mark as work. It was smooth in as much as it was a genre piece, and the genre had been established, and I just had to follow the guidelines. And it was also early days for me over here. I had just arrived from Britain and had moved with my family, so it was like a learning experience, how to work in the business. And the way to work in the business is do what they tell you. And if they don't like it, say, well, that's what you told me to do. What do you want me to do now? I mean, the other guys are paying you the money, so take their advice and let them live with it, is my take. If you write it yourself, you can argue and say, no, it was... I mean, the first five scripts I wrote in spec. I just wrote them and sold them. So I had a different sort of take on it. You write your stuff and then you give it to them and they give you money and then you argue about it. But this was different, so it was a whole new stepping through another door for me.
You have seen great adventures. Now you're about to live one. Damnation Alley.
I thought the film, brought off its intention pretty well. I just didn't think it was missing maybe it was some star ingredient in the act, or maybe it was a better script, or maybe it was just a better story, because it doesn't really have a climax in a proper sense of the word. It kind of just goes whoosh. I mean, there's the big stuff in Detroit and the storm and all that kind of stuff, and but since there are there's no opponents out there anymore, you're just, at a certain point in time, you go home. And I thought that kind of leveled out a little bit. And I wasn't surprised at how it performed at the box office, because apparently it was about the same time as Star Wars. Well, say no more. So no, I didn't. I mean, I don't really know what it is you would do. I mean, now with all the technical effects, you would have to bump up numbers somewhere to get some. I mean, the storms could probably be a bit more something or other, but the storms were adequately good for me, and the sky thing that went on became quite a good little kind of background music. It was kind of weird. No, what it lacked was it didn't have enough character invention and enough plot episodes to make it more than what it was, which was a decent, entertaining sort of movie. It was my take on it. If you had said to me, rating all the movies you've ever written that ever got made, where would you place Damnation Alley? It would certainly have been below the median point just in terms of product, not experience. But looking at it today, I thought, no, actually you're selling this a little bit short. I mean, it's not bad at all. It goes along, and there's no really embarrassing moments for me.
We are sending you an emissary. His name is Tanner. Please don't take him as an example of the rest of our party.
Well, I'm certainly surprised at the cult following aspect of things. Looking at it, though, I thought, oh, yeah, this is watchable. I mean, if you got this from a DVD or so and you sat down and you'd go along to the end, it would be as good a 90-odd minutes as you normally get for your buck. So I could see, I thought, that was quite smart of somebody to suss that this was a good tale. It was being told in an interesting way. Cult status would definitely surprise me. I expect something slightly more to be attached to cult status. But if it's the case, good luck to the cultists. May they multiply.